Hello everyone. In this video explanation, we shall discuss the elegies one by one. I have already given an introduction to what an elegy is, who is Rainer Maria Rilke, what is the backdrop of these elegies. So now that we have the general idea of the work, let us begin with a brief introduction of the elegies and directly go to the elegies one by one. So, Duino Elegies is a collection of 10 poems published in 1923 and considered Rilke's masterpiece, his magnum opus. Okay, so one reason why these elegies are so important is that they address experiences that every human being faces. So we all experience happiness and sadness. We all wonder about life and death. We all seek meaning and connection. Right. So these poems are addressing all these experiences of human, and because of its depth and philosophical dimension, because of its philosophical richness, many critics consider this to consider the Duino Elegies to be one of the greatest, one among the greatest works of the 20th century. Okay, so with this background in mind, with the previous lectures that I have already discussed with you on Rilke, on the backdrop, and on the elegy, with all this knowledge in mind, let us move to the first elegy of Rilke, where he begins his search for comfort and meaning. Okay, and one important thing is that the Duino Elegies were originally published in German language, and are translated by a number of translators. All right, so let us dive straight to the first elegy. So in the first elegy, the poet is, this is the first Duino elegy. Okay, so in the first elegy, the poet is going through deep pain and loneliness. So the poet or the speaker is, the first elegy begins with a cry of suffering. All right, so this poet, or let's say Rilke himself, right, he feels lonely. This speaker feels confused and overwhelmed by the life's difficulties. So naturally he looks for help. Okay, because he's confused and overwhelmed, naturally he looks for help, and he looks toward angels for help. Okay, so in many religious traditions, angels are seen as comforting and protective beings. Therefore he hopes that they might offer guidance and consolation. But what we see here is that Rilke's angels are very different from the gentle biblical angels that we usually imagine. All right, what happened is that he realizes, see, if you read through with me, however, as he thinks more carefully, he realizes that angels are not gentle or comforting in the way humans imagine them to be. Their beauty, power, and perfection are so great that ordinary people cannot fully understand them. The poet even suggests that if an angel were to appear before him, the experience would be overwhelming and might destroy or annihilate him. Right? He realizes that angels are perfect beings. They are beings of extraordinary perfection and beauty, right? And their greatness is so immense that ordinary human beings like you and me cannot bear their presence, right? So mm, mm, he is, like example, imagine standing before a massive tall waterfall, and uh, like, or let's say that tall and a beautiful waterfall can have so much beauty, but it can also fill us with a fear at the same time. That is what um, Rilke is experiencing at this moment. Okay, the angels are perfect beings, or they are extraordinary, they are sublime, they are beautiful. But then he realizes that they are so perfect that human would not be able to stand their presence. Human will not be able to bear their presence. Like, he even suggested that if an angel were to appear before him, the experience would be so great, overwhelming, that it might destroy or annihilate him. Okay, that is why he writes the famous idea. He says that angels are terrible. Beauty is the beginning of terror. He says that angels are terrible not because they are evil, but because they are far beyond human limits. Okay, which means that uh, an angel's perfection is too big, too intense for an ordinary human being. If we are to realize the beauty, the perfection of angels, we will realize that we are full of limitations. We are full of we are full of limitations, and we have so much flaws, and we have so much flaws and idiosyncrasies, and we have so much of flaws in us that it will make us feel so small to be close to angels. Okay, that is why he says beauty is the beginning of terror, because angel simplifies beauty, but as much as they are beautiful, it make human realize that eh, they are too ordinary, that they are too full of flaws, that they are too full of limitations. Okay, because angels are too perfect, that too beautiful, that it make humans realize that they will never be able to reach that perfection, and it makes them feel small and um, unachieving. Okay, so he does not say that mean that beauty is evil. Okay, he's just saying that some forms of beauty, like that of the angel's beauty, are so powerful that they are even frightening. Okay, because it makes us aware of our limitations, aware of our flaws, aware of our limits. All right, now, after realizing that angels cannot provide the comfort he seeks, we see at the starting of the poem, the poet is looking for comfort, seeking for comfort and meaning, right? Then he turns to angels, and then he realizes that angels are too perfect that if an angel were to appear before him, he would immediately die. He would immediately be destroyed, right? So after realizing that angels cannot provide the comfort or the answer that he seeks, now Rilke begins looking elsewhere for consolation. Right. So, after losing hope in the angels, the poet looks for comfort in things closer to human life. Since angels seem too distant and overwhelming, too big and too great, too grand, the poet then turns to human beings. Okay, he turns to other people, hoping that human companionship will ease his suffering. Right. However, he soon realizes that every person carries their own burdens, their fears, and struggles. For example, you see, if two friends are both going through difficult situations, neither may be able to completely remove the other's pain. Right? That is what he means. Hope he realizes that every person is struggling with their own fears and problems, and that no one will be able to completely solve his problem or remove his pain. Right? No one will be able to completely remove each other's pain, because each one of us have our own burdens and shortcomings and problems. Okay. Now he turns to angels. He could not find the answer. He turns to humans. He realizes that humans cannot provide answers. Then he looks at animals. Right. Animals live naturally and do not worry about death or the meaning of life as humans do. See, Ray. So, animals appear peaceful because they live naturally, and they live by their own instincts. They live in their own freedom. They do not spend, their lives worrying about death. or asking philosophical questions like human beings, right? See, think of a bird flying freely in the sky, or a deer moving peacefully through a forest seems more ease than human beings. Okay, the poet admires the simplicity of the animal world, but he cannot imitate it, right? He cannot imitate it. He is now turning to animals for answers, and he likes the simplicity of animals because they live in their own freedom. They don't overthink like humans. But then, although he wants to be like animals, he cannot be like animals. He cannot imitate animals. Why? Because it does not fully comfort him, because he cannot escape his human awareness and anxiety, right? Which means that the poet admires the simplicity of animals, but he cannot imitate them, because human beings like you and me, we possess this self-awareness. We have this awareness that we are born to die, we will experience life, we will experience death, right? So we constantly think about life and death. So he wants to live naturally like the animals, but he could not do so, because human beings are blessed with this consciousness, the consciousness to be self-aware about life, about death, about joy, about suffering. Okay, so though he turns to angels, he could not find answers. He turns to humans, he could not find answers. He turns to animals, there he could not find the answer. So even animals cannot fully solve his existential anxiety, right? He's sad, he's worried. We see at the beginning, he's worried, right? He's lonely and confused, and he's overburdened with life's difficulties, but neither of them could not give him answers. Why can't the animals, the birds, give him answers? Because though he loved their simplicity, though he loved the fact they did not overthink, they live freely in their own world and freedom, he cannot imitate them, because human beings are blessed with the capacity to think, the capacity to be self-aware. Okay, now uh, mm, since neither angels nor humans nor animals provide complete comfort, Rilke will now turn his attention to one of humanity's deepest experiences. And what is that? Love. Okay, what is that? Love. He now turns to love and human relationships. The poet then considers love and human relationships. Lovers seem to offer comfort because they share deep emotions and intimacy. Right? He examines love, and he says that love appears to offer comfort because it allows two people to share their lives, emotions, and experience with another person. See, so when people fall in love, they often feel understood, supported, and less alone. Right. But then Rilke recognizes, however, even love is not a perfect solution. Why? Rilke recognizes the limitations of love. How? Because even the strongest relationships cannot completely eliminate or end suffering. Okay? Because love, we fall in love, we feel understood, we feel supported, we feel less alone, we feel seen, we feel heard. But then he says that even love and relationship cannot completely eliminate suffering. Okay, because misunderstandings happen, people can change, separation can happen, and eventually, death may part even the closest lovers. Okay, because of this, he turns to love, because love means understanding each other, right? Understand living for one another. But then he says that even love cannot answer his question, his suffering, because even love can end, misunderstanding can occur, people can change, separation can happen, and eventually death may become a part of the close. That may separate even the lovers. Okay. Now, because love is also vulnerable to loss, right? Love can also lead to loss. It cannot provide permanent freedom from suffering. Okay, now Rilke therefore concludes that although love is precious, it is not complete solution to the deepest anxieties of the heart. Okay, now if angels, people, animals, and even love cannot fully console the human soul, right? Where can meaning finally be found? So, in this light, Rilke offers a surprising answer. How? Through art and music. Okay, where can meaning finally be found? And he give an answer saying that in through art and music. Right. In the end, the poet finds a possible source, let us read, a possible source of comfort in music and art. Unlike ordinary human experiences, music can transform pain into something beautiful and meaningful. A sad song, for instance, can express grief in a way that helps people understand and share it. The poet suggests that songs created from suffering are especially powerful because they give shape and meaning to human pain. Okay. So after exploring angels, after exploring people, after exploring animals, after exploring lovers, after exploring relationships, he finally turns to art and music because, unlike ordinary experiences, art has the power to transform pain into something meaningful and beautiful. Okay, so think about a very sad song. The singer may be expressing heartbreak, right, or loneliness or grief. Yet, uh, mm, yet when we listen to it, right, we feel understood. We realize that someone have also suffered too. We connect with the kind of music that we listen to, right? Suppose many people listen to emotional songs after losing someone they love, right? The pain does not disappear, but the music helps them carry themselves forward. Okay, so mm, mm, Rilke believes that, like the greatest art comes from suffering. So uh, what happened is that while angels, people, animals, and lovers fail to provide complete consolation, music born from grief may offer a way to endure suffering and turn into something beautiful and lasting. Okay, so, I have already explained it, and here Rilke is suggesting that, like a sad song, right? A sad song, suppose a person experiences deep pain, he writes it, he composed a music out of his pain, and that music continues to live forever, touching others, connecting others, right, fellow human beings who goes through the same pain as him. That is what he meant. Okay, he's saying that when life's problems cannot be completely solved, art like music, art like poetry can help human beings endure suffering and discover meaning within it. Okay, suppose let's say mm, uh, a, a poet experiences a heartbreak and he pens down his thoughts and feelings into his poetry, and a reader may read it and connect with it instantly, and they may, like have that shared connection, right? So mm, music, he's saying that, that it is music and art that can turn suffering into something beautiful and lasting. Angels cannot end his suffering, humans cannot end his suffering, lovers cannot end his suffering, animals cannot end his suffering and the pains of his heart, but music and art or poetry can turn his suffering into something beautiful and lasting. Okay, now this brings us to the central message of the first elegy. Okay, so the first elegy explores humanity's search for comfort in a world filled with suffering. The poet discovers that neither divine beings nor earthly experiences can completely solve human pain, but art and music created from sorrow can help people cope with it and find meaning in their lives. Right. The important lesson is that, the poet discovers that pain does not disappear. Right. But Rilke teaches us that, pain does not disappear. However, we can learn to live with the pain and suffering, and we can turn beauty from our pain and suffering through music, maybe through poetry. Okay, like many great poems, novels, paintings, and songs were born from like personal struggles. Huh? So the first elegy shows us that while suffering is unavoidable, it can become a source of wisdom and creativity. Right. Pain will not be, there is no end to pain, there is no end to suffering. But what we can do is we can learn to live with the pain and suffering, and we can turn that pain and suffering into we can create beauty out of the our pain and suffering, because it is not going to go away. Rather, we can create beauty out of our pain and suffering, maybe through art, maybe through poetry, through music, so that it continues to live on, it continues to engage people, it continues to resonate and connect people. Okay, that is the first idea of the elegy. We search for comfort in a world filled with suffering. Suffering will not go away. No one will be able to take away the suffering or human pain, but we can learn to live with the pain and the suffering, and we can even create beauty out of that pain and suffering. Through what? Through art, through music, and it can continue to influence people and lives. Okay. So, having explored humanity's struggle with suffering in this first elegy, so Rilke now turns his attention back to the angels again. Okay, he'll now, angel is a very important symbol in the Duino Elegies. So he turns his attention back to the angels, and he begins comparing them with human beings. Okay, in this second elegy. In the second elegy, Rilke continues thinking about the angels. He sees them as beings of perfect beauty, power, and greatness. Okay, so angels. What is one thing about angels? See, angels, they do not experience weakness, they do not experience fear, they do not experience aging or death, right? Everything about them, is complete and eternal. Okay, so Rilke keeps thinking about the angels, and he says that everything about the angels seems to be eternal and complete. But what we will see is that at first glance, right, this perfection of the angels is so desirable, he says. Angels are so perfect, they are so beautiful, and they are so desirable. And many people of us, many of us wish to be free from pain, loss, and death like that of the angels. Right? The angels, they do not experience death, they do not experience weakness, they do not experience fear. They are complete and eternal. And this perfection about the angel is so desirable. Many people of us wish to be like the angels because they are free from pain, they are free from loss, they are free from mortality. But then Rilke will introduce a surprising idea. Okay, but he says humans admire angels, but they can never become like them because angels belong to a higher spiritual world. However, Rilke points out that humans have something special that angels do not possess, which is transience, or the fact that human life is temporary. Okay. He says that human beings possess something valuable that angels do not have, which is transience, which means mortality. The angels will not die, right? But humans will die. And that the fact that humans will die, the fact that humans are mortal beings, the fact that they have mortality is what make humans valuable again, right? Humans are born, We live for a limited time and we eventually die. Right? Although at first this seems like a weakness. Okay, this seems like a weakness because we die, we experience death, but the angels do not. They are completely eternal. But Rilke believes that, the fact that we are mortal beings, that we are born and that we will die, actually gives human life a beautiful meaning. Okay, suppose example, a flower is beautiful. We really love a flower blooming in different seasons because it blooms only for a short season. See, if it lasted forever, we might stop appreciating that flower, right? So Rilke is saying that human life is temporary. Every moment becomes precious. We think about the afterlife. We try to give meaning to our life. If we were to live forever, we might not even want to study. We might not even want to do good things. We will never die, right? But because we know that we will die, that we know that our lives are short, we know that we believe in the afterlife and all that, we try to give meaning to our life. We For us, time is precious. We try to live in harmony with everyone in this short span of life. So that is what Rilke is saying. Okay, the fact that human life is temporary makes it valuable, right? This may appear like a weakness because we know that we will face death at first, but Rilke says that this transient nature of life, this temporary nature of life is what really gives life meaning. Okay, mortality gives life meaning. If we are to live forever, we might not appreciate life. We might not really do good things, right? But because we will die, we find time precious. We try to live a good life. We try to give meaning to our life. That is what he meant. Okay, how he compares the angels and the humans. At first, angels appear so desirable, but he says that there's something special about humans that makes them more desirable. That is their mortality. And this may appear like a weakness at first, but this is what gives human life its meaning. Okay. Now, then the poet uses the image of a gravestone to explain this idea. A gravestone shows that a person has died, but it also preserves their memory. For example, when we see a gravestone, we remember the person's life, relationships, and experiences. In this way, humans leave something behind after death. Okay. Mm, mm. For example, although a family member may be gone physically, their influences continues, right? So which shows that, like gravestone, example of the gravestone, a family may visit the grave of a beloved grandparent, and they may recall the stories, advice, and love that the grandparents shared, right? So although the individual is gone physically, their influence continues. This shows that, human beings leave emotional and spiritual legacies behind. Right. So Rilke is suggesting that mortality does not erase meaning. Instead, it highlights the importance of memory. Okay. Uh, mm, just as a book has meaning because it has a beginning and an ending, human life gains shape and value because it is finite, that it is because it has a beginning and an end. Okay, so he, through the idea of the gravestone, he is suggesting that um, mortality does not, the fact that we will die, the fact that we are mortal beings does not erase meaning. Instead, it also highlights, it also tells us about the importance of memory. The fact that we all die, and the fact that we remember the goodness of a person, we remember the kindness of a person, right? So mortality also highlights the importance of memory. Okay. Mm. Then Rilke connects his idea of memory with two powerful human experiences, which is love and parting. Okay, Rilke especially connects gravestones with love and parting. Love is important because people form deep emotional bonds during their short lives. Parting is equally important because every relationship eventually ends through separation or death. right? Sometimes people move away, sometimes relationship, and eventually death, at the end death parts everyone. Okay, so he is saying that the possibility of loss, loss, the possibility of loss makes uh, love and parting more meaningful. Okay, if a relationship was to last forever without any risks of separation, they might not have the same emotional intensity throughout, right? So Rilke believes that love becomes meaningful because it exists within the limits of time, right? mm, Loss is painful. Yes, parting and loss is painful, but it also reveals how deeply we have loved. Okay, so Rilke says that loss is painful, love is beautiful, love is meaningful because it exists within the limits of time, and loss is painful, but it also reveals how deeply we have loved. Okay, therefore, human life contains both beauty and sorrow, and like these two experiences cannot be separated. Now, uh, the mixture of love and loss gives human life its beauty and emotional depth. You know that, right? We love, we love, we love because love is beautiful because it exists within the limits of time. Loss is painful because it reveals how deeply we have loved. Okay, so this brings us to the central message of the second elegy, where Rilke explores and explains why human mortality should be viewed as a strength rather than a weakness. Okay, he says that the core idea of the second elegy, while angels are eternal and perfect, humans possess the ability to love, suffer, and leave meaningful memories behind. Rilke suggests that this temporary nature of human life is not a flaw, but one of its greatest strengths. Okay, we look at angels; they are so perfect. They don't experience death. They don't experience suffering. They don't experience pain. It's so desirable at first, right? We want to be like angels, but then Rilke realizes that no, while we want to be like the angels, the the fact that we humans have the ability to love, the fact that we human beings have the ability to love within the limits of time, the fact that we suffer, the fact that we leave meaningful memories behind, isn't this more beautiful than not to experience any of this at all, like the angels? Okay, to be eternal, to be permanent, to be perfect like angels is desirable, but the temporary nature of human life, the mortality of human beings, should not be taken as not be taken negatively, should not be taken as a flaw, but should be taken as a strength, because mm, 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 because life is short, we try to live better. Because love can be lost, it becomes precious. Because death exists, life becomes meaningful. Right? That is why he says that he compares angels and humans, and he appreciates, he says that we should not take this uh, human, the mortality of humans or the transient nature of human life to be a flaw, but to be taken as a strength. Because 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 life is short, that is why every choice matters. Because love can be lost, it becomes precious. Because that exists, life becomes meaningful. Okay, see, the ideas of the elegies are indeed very beautiful. If we look at it, they are so meaningful, right? So that is the core idea of the second elegy. Now, having explored the beauty and significance of human mortality, right, the fact that we are mortal and we will die, Rilke now turns to another important theme in the third elegy, which is the power and limitations of love. Okay, especially the love offered by women. Very interesting. Let us begin right away. Both the power and limitations of the female embrace are examined in the third elegy. I'm so sorry I have not added in there. Okay. As boys grow into men, they leave the protective love of their mother for the arms of the gentle lover. Neither can save him, but perhaps the love of a good woman can busy a man and bring balance to his life, containing his basis urges. Okay. So he begins by comparing two important relationships, the love of a mother and the love of a lover. Okay. See, as a child, a boy lives under the protection of his mother. So a mother provides what? A mother provides safety, affection, security, and even her embrace makes a child feel protected from the world. Right. However, as the boy grows into a man, he gradually leaves this protected space and enters a larger world with all its challenges and uncertainties. Right. See, see, uh, mm, he a son leaves his mother and he later seeks comfort in romantic love. Okay, a loving woman how may provide uh, companionship, emotional support, understanding that is given. We understand, right? A good companion, fellow feeling is there, emotional bond is there, but yet Rilke emphasizes that, neither a mother nor a lover can completely protect a person from life's deeper realities, such as suffering, such as fear, such as loneliness, such as death. Okay, as he matures, he discovers that human existence is shaped by powerful instincts, desires, fears, and unconscious forces that lie beyond a mother's protection. See, for example, even the most caring mother cannot prevent her child from facing disappointment, right? Or let's say, even the most devoted lover cannot remove all the pain from another person's life. Okay, see, uh, let us read further. See, uh, I'll repeat again. See, a mother creates a world of warmth and protection for her child. Right. During childhood, many problems, many problems seem far away because parents often shield children from danger and hardship. Right. When a child is frightened, the presence of a loving mother can immediately calm him or can immediately bring comfort. Right. And mm, however, Rilke points out that, like this protection from parents or from a mother cannot last forever. How? As people grow older, they encounter powerful emotions and desires. Right? They will experience jealousy, they will experience fear, they will experience attraction, they will experience anger, and many other complicated feelings. Right? These inner forces are part of human nature. A mother can guide and support her child, but she cannot completely control these hidden aspects of life: jealousy, fear, attraction, anger, ambition, and all that. Right? Eventually, every person, like you and me, must face the complexities of existence alone. Okay, we cannot always stay in the protected arms of our mother. We cannot always stay in the protected arms of our lover, because every one of us have our basic instinct, complicate and many other complicated feelings. Right. That thus, while maternal love is precious, it has natural limits. Okay. Mm, mm, See, a loving partner a loving partner can help someone find balance during difficult times. Like, for example, when a person is discouraged or confused, a loving wife or husband may provide encouragement and hope, right? So, how Rilke also reminds us that unlike that of a mother's love, even romantic love is not, something that can offer magic solution. Even the strongest relationship cannot eliminate suffering, mortality, death, or inner conflict. Right? A loving woman may comfort a man, but she cannot save him from death. She may ease or she may uh, comfort him, she may ease his fears, but she cannot completely remove them, can she? So, uh, mm, Rilke says that love is valuable not because it solves every problem, but because it helps people endure life's difficulties together. Okay, and then one of the most important passage in the third elegy is when Rilke asks whether a mother truly understands everything that exists within her child. Okay, so the so these question highlights the mystery of human nature, right? Every one of us, we have hidden thoughts, we have instincts, we have dreams, we have fears and desires that those closest to us cannot even fully understand. Right. Parents may know their children very well, that but then there are always private emotions and struggles that remain hidden. Right. Friends and lovers can know a great deal about someone, but no one can completely enter another person's inner world. So what Rilke is suggesting is that human beings contain ancient instincts in us, hidden complexities, feelings in us that lie beyond anyone, that no one can fully control, not even a mother, not even a lover. Okay, he is saying that no matter how much we are loved, maybe by a mother or maybe by a partner, a part of us always remains unknown. Okay, so this leads us to the central message of the third elegy. Third elegy presents a balanced view of love. Female love is powerful because it nurtures, comforts, and brings harmony in life, yet it is limited because it cannot erase suffering, conquer death, or completely overcome the unconscious desires that shape human existence. Through this idea, Rilke shows that love is valuable not because it saves us, but because it helps us face life difficulties with greater strength and understanding. Okay, and he presents a very realistic view of love, right? Mm, a mother's encouragement may help a child develop confidence. A loving partner may provide strength during difficult times. Yet he says that any kind of love, female love, cannot erase suffering, cannot defeat death, cannot overcome the hidden complexities, hidden feelings of human nature. Okay, so he says that he presents a realistic view of love, that love, the value of love lies not in saving us from life struggles, but in helping us face those struggles with greater courage and understanding. Okay, he is saying that love cannot make life perfect, but it can make life's burdens easier to bear. Okay, so so far Rilke has explored suffering, mortality, and love. Right. So when we discuss the next elegy, which is the fourth elegy, he will turn inward and he will examine another human problem, which is the conflict between our thoughts, actions, and true selves. Okay. So I will continue the fourth, fifth, and sixth elegy in the next video. Right. Thank you.